you cannot give to them, and if you say no to them, and they just hate you, and I feel like you're not part of your family anymore, or something like that. That's what I'm feeling.
Welcome in to another episode of Foreigner Loves
Filipina! Good morning, everyone!
Good morning. Good to see everybody. Welcome to another episode of Foreigner Loves Filipina and another episode of Morning Musing. If you don't know, morning musing is when we sit down and have breakfast and
Just talk about
just
things.
chat. It's really kind of began because when Melanie and I would always sit and have breakfast, we'd always have conversations about things that they always seemed to pertain to the Philippines. So at one point I was like, well, maybe we should just turn the camera on. And we did. Like the other day, we decided not to do one because we were just tired. And I almost went and set the camera up
This is not mine.
I almost went and set the camera up just for the heck of it, and I didn't. And then I really regretted it because we just got to chatting about something that was really interesting, and I was like, it would have been good if we'd had that recorded, but...
What we're gonna talk about?
Well, I thought maybe we would chat about... We recently had the episode come out about sending money home to the Philippines. And needless to say, an episode like that gets a lot of strong reactions. Good and bad.
Good and bad. Let's start with the good.
Well, I think overall people really seem to enjoy the video. A lot of people said it really helped them understand their Filipina and understand the culture a little bit. And how we kind of helped walk through the way, we approached it. I mean, you could definitely tell there are people who are trying to figure that out for themselves, or maybe they're in a new relationship and they know it's something they've got to figure out before they get into a serious relationship. But then you could definitely tell there were people who had been burnt by the whole situation.
Yeah, like how they're gonna solve with it. What's the solution?
Well, and some of them were past the solution, where clearly they got burnt by it. I think the relationship was over, whether it was a marriage or it was just a serious relationship. But yeah, you could definitely tell the people that were really salty because they'd been burnt by it.
Yeah.
And, that's one thing when you watch vlogs on any subject like this. Of course, you have some people that just believe Philippines is trash and Filipinas are trash and they're all after your money. They're all bad. They're all scammers.
They're all gold digger.
They're all gold. I mean, there's
all these things all about money. Whatever.
Well, and unfortunately, what happens is if someone's been burnt, they just assume everyone's like that. And I can understand that. I mean, I went through a divorce and I was pretty sour and bitter for a long time towards women in general, where I thought women, I didn't want anything to do with women other than just have fun with them. So I certainly went through that stage. So I get that. But it also, just because you got burned, you had a bad situation, or one person had a bad, doesn't mean all situations are bad. And of course, we try to be, we tend to lean the other direction because it's, we had a great relationship and it's been a great blessing. I won't speak for her, I'll speak for me. It's been a great blessing to me. It's brought me a much higher level of contentment than I've ever had. And so obviously we lean the other way. That's one of the reasons we created this channel, was to try and encourage other guys, go find yourself a good Filipina. Of course, the trick is finding a good one. I mean, there certainly are scammers out there. There certainly are.
Yeah, I'm sure. What me, Daryl, and now what we've been talking about, if your relationship is all about money, at the very first time when you meet your Filipina, and then you start showing your money to her, or maybe sending a lot of money to her, maybe not once in a month but once in a week or whatever, something like that. Then if you're gonna cut that what do you call that one, babe? If you're gonna cut that support or like that kind of situation, then I don't think that would be good, I guess, because you get your Filipina used to it, and then you suddenly like cut it off like, oh, I don't think that's good, then I don't think you're gonna have a good relationship with your Filipina.
Well,
so make sure you're just gonna be like careful too,
and part of what she's leading to or talking about is, yes, there are Filipinas that are scammers that are not looking for a genuine relationship. They're looking for more of a transactional relationship. And honestly, there's some Americans that want a transactional relationship. They don't want anything serious, and they just want someone to hang out with and have fun with when they're...
Or just like a companion.
Yeah, just a companion. So that goes both ways. But, kind of what she's alluding to is, yes, there are Filipino scammers that genuine foreigners need to be careful of. But also, the foreigners sometimes put themselves in precarious situations because they feel like the only thing they have to offer a Filipina, because they're older and they just feel like what they have to offer is money. So what do? They, right from the beginning, talk about how much money they have or show how much money they have to the Filipina and show the family and shower them with gifts because, to an American or a foreigner, the amount of money that they're showering may not be significant at first. And it seems like, oh, well, when you lead with that, that's why, we always use that term, leading with your wallet, is that you're the type of person you're going to attract is going to be someone who's interested in money. And, then if you do that, you can't then complain that the Filipina that you're with or her family expects more money, because that's the expectation you set up. And so it goes both ways. Sometimes the foreigner is taken advantage of by a manipulative Filipina that knows this guy's lonely and this guy just wants some companionship, and she shows some attention, and she women definitely know how to manipulate a guy, and us guys have to be careful because unfortunately we're easily manipulated. But sometimes the men are setting themselves up for disaster.
So I have a friend also like that. She spoiled her family so much. I mean, the Filipina is the one sending money, not I guess the partner too. But yeah, like she's sending a lot of support to her family, like not even like once in a month, maybe like twice in a week, or like when they needed money. And then it's not gonna be never enough for them. It's always like complaining. That's what she said. Told me 2 days ago. She said, you know what, Melanie, you're really good in like doing the boundary like limitation.
Boundaries.
Yeah, and how much you're gonna send to your family, and then you're not like at least they know that they're not gonna keep asking because this is what you're gonna get and something like that. But not with my family before. Like before, it's always been like drama, so much drama, like complaining that this is not enough, I need more, and make something excuses that, oh, I have an emergency here, so that they can, so that she can send money back there in the Philippines. And yeah, I guess that's not healthy.
Well, when we make a video like that, of course, you guys all critique us and what we said and didn't say. We also critique ourselves. I thought we did a pretty good job in some areas in that video. The one area that I wish I had emphasized a little more was on the boundaries, that you have to set boundaries. Like, it can't be this open-ended sending of money. And several of the commenters talked about boundaries. And, each individual's got to figure that out on their own, what they think appropriate boundaries are. But what you don't want, is to get her family dependent on you. I mean, that is destructive to everybody. It's destructive to the people you're sending money to. It's destructive to your personal finances if you're sending money constantly. And it can be destructive to your relationship because it can become a divide. And so, that's one of the reasons we made that video, is that it's something that needs to be discussed up front. And you and your Filipina need to understand. Like, Melanie and I thought we had a good understanding of it before she ever came here. But then we realized we didn't really understand each other. That my understanding of what she meant by support was completely different than what she meant. And it wasn't until she got here, and then we had to really dive into it, that then we, had discussion. Luckily, we're blessed that I think we respect each other enough that we have good conversation, and we seem to be able to work through. Like I said, this was by far the biggest issue we ever had to work through, and it was hard for us because we had very polar opposite views on it. But the boundaries, guys, is very important. In fact, someone mentioned about boundaries that he had to set with his Filipina because they were sending money.
Or the foreigner.
Yeah, the foreigner, because he was saying that they were sending money, and it was a fiance in his case. They weren't married yet, but they were sending money, and it was kind of what you were just talking about. It was never enough, and then they just kept asking and kept asking and kept asking, and then it was creating an issue between him and his fiance, and that at some point they had to say, all right, they had to set boundaries and said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're not doing anymore. And how that actually ended up really being a blessing to his Filipina, because by the foreigner setting the boundary a little bit, it allowed the Filipina to go to her family and say, I'm sorry, this is all we can do, and this is what my husband has said we can do. And so it gave the Filipina some freedom to go to her family and set a boundary with her family who was being abusive. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, it's really nice to have that. But like, you know what? Like, the family in the Philippines, sometimes like you get these boundaries, they will also like blame us, like, oh, you're just so stingy, like you're just so
No,
like
no, you just got to live with that if that
and
happens.
you know what? Like, who cares? Like, you just, who cares? Like, I remember when I have a friend, she also have a foreigner. And then, her parents, I don't think they have work. I feel like the parents like pressured her to ask money to a foreigner because they need, money. And so like she did that and everything, and they've never been happy. They've never been like contented because they want more until like they get to build a new house because of the foreigner. And then one time she told me, you know what, Melanie, I wish I've never found a foreigner. I wish we still live in a nipa hut, like, a bamboo house, because we're so happy family. We've never fight. We've always been like smiling. We've always been happy. We never have problem. We never have drama. And I'm always close to mom. But now, like, she's kind of like away, like close away, not away from her family already. Like, she's not like talking so much with her mom anymore, and then even with her dad anymore. They're like kind of separated to each other because of, I guess, like this material
That's
things.
sad.
Yeah.
Was she married to this foreigner, or was it just a relationship, or
Just a relationship. And she had kids.
was it
with
a
him.
long? Oh, she did.
She did have kids with him. Yeah. But they're not together anymore. They're separated, and then the foreigner have a new girl, and then the girl, my friend, also have a new foreigner. So I don't know. I feel like now my friend, or the girl that I've been talking earlier, is just wanted to have like a foreigner just to spoil her, because that's what she used to. Like, the foreigner keeps giving her money, and so that's why she's looking for a foreigner to give her money. If not, if you can't give her money, then you're not anymore.
Yeah,
in
I
her
don't
life.
think I know who you're talking about now. I don't think she's looking for a genuine relationship. It is much more transactional.
Yeah.
And
Because I feel like she just want to support her family, I guess. Because, her family, her mom and dad doesn't have a real job. And then I feel like her family is like really dependent to her. So, you know who you're talking about. But yeah, it's just so sad to have like that. Like, if you can't give to your family, I feel like you're not part of a family. Like, if you can give to them, then you're like, I don't want to feel like that. I feel like with you having no boundaries to your family, like if you cannot give to them, and if you say no to them, and they just hate you, and I feel like you're not part of your family anymore, or something like that. That's what I'm feeling.
You feel like they cast you out if you don't send money.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
I don't think that's how you feel about your specific family. I think
No,
you're
no,
talking
no, no.
about
I'm talking like in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that happens a lot? Now you know, so you shared one instance where you feel like that very directly happened. Do you think that happens a lot, where if a Filipina, either on her own or under the leadership of her husband, they put a limit on the amount, that the family becomes kind of hard and cold towards the Filipino? Do you think it happens a lot, or do you think it's a fairly rare thing?
Maybe I will say maybe fairly or like rarely happen. I
Rarely,
guess.
rarely
Yeah.
happen.
I don't know. I just can't. Yeah, because I have just only a few, a few friends. Like my friend here in America, that happened to her family. Like it's never been enough, and they have drama. Like her mother, her own mother, like fight with her, like against with her. Like it's not okay. Like she's the one supporting your family, and there you are, your mother is not okay with you. Like I don't understand. And same as my family, the same of my friends there in Philippines, like they have drama. So I guess I will say mostly, because based on my two friends that
Yeah. Well, this is exactly why people have strong feelings about this, guys. It gets complicated really fast, and I think more than anything, you gotta hope you have a good, honest Filipina, and you gotta hope she has a good family. And because if there's anybody who's greedy, or anybody who is focused more on the money than they are on the relationships, it can get out of whack really fast. And so, we say all this as a precaution that you need to be prepared. I'm not saying you should not be with a Filipina or anything like that, but it is, it can be one of the biggest stumbling blocks to a foreigner-Filipina relationship. And like we mentioned in the episode, I have no problem providing some level of support back home, just like I help support my own mom here in America. But there has to be boundaries, and there has to be reasonable boundaries that are not creating a big budget problem on your family. And it's one of the reasons I always felt like the best way is to really help with emergencies rather than giving money on a regular basis, because I feel like once you build that pattern, try cutting that off. Our U.S. government has learned that, if nobody else, that once you start a program, you can never end that program, because if you ever cut off support, then it's like it's like you're killing people. So you have to walk through these issues very carefully. And obviously every family situation is going to be different. The dynamics are going to be different. I feel like I mentioned in the video, I feel like we had a lot of advantages in our situation that made our situation maybe a little easier than most, because we don't have manipulation coming from her family, and there's a lot of things that we have going for us. But it's still been the hardest thing for us to get to. If there was manipulation coming from the Philippines, I could see where it could just be so much worse. Luckily we don't have that. And
yeah, last year when we visited Philippines, like I really talked to my mom, about it, and then she said, yeah, you take care of yourself, you pay your bills there, because I told them that I have a car payment every month, and it's a lot. It's not like just $100, it's like more than that. And then my mom said, yeah, you take care of that, you need to pay your bills and everything. But I told them that after I pay with the bill, then I'm still making sure that I'm still gonna support you. And she said, yes, fine, don't worry about us. So I'm really lucky with my family. Even my brother Cesario that kind of manage our business, I always message him hey, how are you guys there? And you know what, his response is always we're okay here, don't worry. Something it's not about hey, can you send money, we have emergency. No, they're not like that. My brother,
no.
My brother always tell me oh, but I'm just I just feel guilty sometimes that I can't do this. But I'm just so happy that they're so very understanding on my situation. So that's, I think I'm lucky. But most of the Filipino parents are I guess not like that, especially if they know their daughter like have a a foreigner and their daughter is living here in USA, because they always think that, oh, she has money and
Well, and it's not always the parents. A lot of stories I heard from a lot of times it's siblings.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm lucky with my siblings. My siblings never ask like money, unless like like if someone that they maybe afford or something like that. Yeah, but they never ask money.
Yeah, I heard her siblings are really good about that. They don't
They,
ever ask.
they just wait, like for Christmas. I'll make sure in Christmas that I always send money to them, just for Christmas, because I always send money with my parents, not with my siblings. So every Christmas I make sure that I give them like kind of a Christmas gift to all my siblings. So I have 4 siblings. No, I have 5 siblings. So 2 in Manila and 3 in my village where my mom is. So I make sure that all of them have the Christmas gift, and you know what? They're like happy when I call them in Christmas and say, "Oh, thank you so much for your Christmas gift. It's a big help," something like that. Even if it's just like, not big amount, but yeah, they're really like appreciative too. So they're just waiting for me to give them, not like them asking.
Yeah, I think we're probably blessed more than we realize.